Gideon, what happened to your hat?
I figured out that I'm just not as good as other people.
Really? What's that got to do with your hat?
I was trying to be like my big brother Luca, and things just didn't go well at all.
Okay, but what's that got to do with your hat?
Well, you know how strong and funny my brother is.
I sure do, and he's got really big muscles.
Yes, he does. And they come in real handy when he helps people. Whoops, there goes my hat now. The other day, I saw him help a little girl who hurt her knee when she fell off of her bicycle. She was crying for her mama and everything. My brother Luca walked over to her, picked her up in one arm, her bicycle up with the other arm, and carried both of them all the way back to her house.
Well, there is no way your scrawny little muscles could do that.
By the time he got her home, she'd stopped crying and was laughing at a joke he told her.
Wow, that's pretty neat. But that still doesn't explain your hat.
I'm getting to that. I got the idea to use my muscles to help somebody out. I went to help my neighbor carry a huge 50-pound bag of dog food in from her car to her house. As I reach for the dog food, the huge bag slides out of the car and lands flat on top of me. I was being squished flat by a big bag of dog food. Thankfully, Luca saw me being squished and came to my rescue. Anyway, the big bag of dog food is what flattened my hat out.
Wow, Luca saves the day again. Maybe you should pick somebody else to try and be like.
Yeah, I tried that too. I thought I'd pick somebody easier, so I tried to be like Reverend Frank. He's really friendly, and he's smart and a wonderful preacher, so that's who I tried to be like next.
Well, what happened?
I tried to preach a sermon. After I said, "Good morning, everyone," and everybody said, "Good morning" back, well, it sort of all fell apart from there. I dropped my notes and they went everywhere. Then I couldn't remember anything I was supposed to say. I'm sure everybody was laughing at me and I just felt like crying.
Well, I think I know what your problem is. You need to pick somebody else to be like.
You mean somebody easier?
No, actually, somebody much harder.
Huh? What do you mean, Charity?
Be like Jesus. And by that I mean just do what he taught us. Jesus taught that we are all given different abilities. Some people can help others with big muscles and a sense of humor. Others are good at speaking and encouraging. But the important point Jesus made was we should find our own abilities and focus on using them the best way we can.
You mean just use the abilities that God gave me and stop trying to always be good at exactly the same thing that my brother or Reverend Frank are good at?
Exactly. You remember how you sometimes go over to your neighbor's after lunch and help her wash her dishes because she's getting old and it hurts her knees to stand up for too long?
Yeah, and that is something I can do that Reverend Frank can't because he's at work then.
And remember when you invited the new boy at school to sit with you at lunch because he was lonely?
Yeah, and my brother Luca couldn't do that because he doesn't even go to the same school.
Exactly. I think you're beginning to catch on. And that's a good thing because I was worried that dropping another big bag of dog food was going to squish more than just your hat. And speaking of hats, come on, let's go to the store and see if we can find you a new one.
Okay.
Wasn't that good? Hey? So can you tell me what gifts God gave you? What things are you guys really good at? Hayden? What things are you really good at?
Soccer, hockey,
Hockey. What was the first one? Soccer. Wow. Ben. Sports. So you guys are all good at sports? All of you?
yeah.
Wow, I wish I was good at sports. I'm too fat to run now. What should I do about it? Should I be like you guys? Probably, eh? Even though the puppets say we shouldn't be like other people? I'd like to be like you guys in top shape. I love your hair, by the way, Ben.
Thank you.
I wish I had the guts to do that. It is so cool. Hey? We like Ben's hair? Who is the number one person, though, that we'd like to be like? The puppet said, Ben?
Yourself.
Yourself, right? So you know what you're good at. You want to share that now with other people. Hey? Share your gifts. And that is what Jesus taught us. So in effect, we're being like Jesus when we do that. Because he shared his gifts, right? With other people. What a valuable lesson, eh? Isn't that a great lesson? Now, remember last week I told you that I was going to give you a quiz, an exam today about what we talked about last week? Do you remember what we talked about?
I wasn't here.
You weren't here. You're safe. You're on third base and you're safe. What did we talk about? I don't have a clue either. Let's move on. Hey, Ben. Oh, aren't we happy? Hey, I forgot to. I'll remember for next week, though. You know the generous act of our Lord Jesus Christ, who thought he was rich, right? But what was he rich at? He was rich at love, rich at generosity, rich at hospitality, right? And though he was rich, he still made himself poor for us by giving the ultimate sacrifice himself. So what is it? What is in our heart right now? What can we give, as a small token, as a symbol of our love for others? It's something we have to ponder every day, isn't it? Our offering will now be received. I need 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers.